Ice over 10,000 feet thick, pierced by bedrock peaks towering even higher. Birthplace of glaciers and icebergs. Land of fog and storm and the long winter night. Home of a hardy people almost lost in the immensity surrounding them. A place where time stood still for 1,000 years. That's Greenland, the world's largest island, where now the Stone and Jet Ages have met. The Norsemen reached Greenland 10 centuries ago. Settling in the south, they cultivated the best sites for some 400 years before their civilization died. Still visible are the ruins of their farms and churches, and an occasional skeleton. When they arrived, they found the remains of Eskimo settlements. The Eskimos had crossed into Greenland from Canada, following the migrating animals which they hunted. Toward the end of the Norse colonization, the Eskimos again streamed down the west coast of Greenland, probably clashing with the Norsemen, who were either wiped out or assimilated. In 1721, the Danish missionary Hans Egede went to Greenland to look for the lost Norsemen. Finding none, he devoted his life to bringing Christianity to the Eskimos. Afterwards, for more than 2.5 centuries, Greenland life remained primitive, based chiefly on seal hunting. The successful hunter was self-sufficient. The seals gave him all he needed: food, clothing, and shelter, tools, weapons, and boats. Only in the past generation has this natural economy changed to a money economy, based on fishing, now Greenland's largest industry. Finally, the Jet Age burst upon the scene, ending forever Greenland's isolation from its Danish motherland and the outside world. This DC-8 is landing at Sønderstrømfjord Airport in southwestern Greenland, a major junction for jetliners crossing the Arctic between Denmark and California. Situated on an American airbase of World War II, this modern air terminal has an airport building and hotel. The Jet Age is also ending the isolation of Greenland's towns and villages from each other. While baggage is unloaded, the travelers await the modern jet helicopter, which will carry them on the next leg of their journey.
Attention please. Departure Greenland Air 104 for Christianshavn Jakobshavn. All on board, please.
There's no other practical way of getting around. The sea provides a means, but most ports are closed through the long winter freeze-up. Airplanes could serve, except that carving runways from the granite face of Greenland poses almost insurmountable problems of construction and cost. Cruising above the majestic formations of snow, ice, and rock, the helicopter heads north. In Disco Bay, the icebergs stand like silent sentinels as the 90-minute helicopter trip nears its end at Jakobshavn. Population 2,000 humans, 1,000 dogs. Helicopter arrivals, though fast becoming routine, usually prove a magnet for the townspeople, young and old. While the heavy load of mail flown in by the helicopter is sorted at the post office, life goes on as usual, with jobs for young and old. Drawing water for the home. Digging peat for heating. Or sawing through a side of whale meat. Timing their arrival to the minute, the townfolk converge on the post office. Today's native Greenlanders live in hamlets, villages and townships, ranging in population from less than 100 to 6,000 in the capital, Godthaab. As the day draws to a close, a fishing boat heads for port in the ice fjord. And children await the return of a lone fisherman in his kayak.
Arbejdsløsheden per 1. marts opgjort til 6,6%. Det lige ved 1% færre ledige end ugen før.
At Godthaab, some 350 miles to the south, Ole Oxholm of Greenland's only radio station gives the evening news. Greenlanders benefit from another modern link with life beyond their isolated villages. Greenlanders at home enjoying their meal of whale meat and whale soup, and Danish guests at the Jakobshavn Hotel relax alike as the newscast ends and the sun sinks over Disco Bay. Stone Age or Jet Age, the Greenlander's life has always been bound to the sea. Seal hunting gave way to fishing as the seas grew warmer and the seals scarcer, and the hunters in their slender kayaks were largely replaced by fishermen who set their lines and nets from rugged coastal draggers. Greenland's fishing grounds are among the world's richest. In 1948, the world's two largest shrimp and prawn beds were found at Disco Bay. Fishing from these small craft in rough and stormy weather is a risky business. This shrimp processing plant at Jakobshavn, one of many fisheries scattered along the Greenland coast, typifies the new Greenland and a whole new way of life for the Greenlander. Greenland craftsmen work miracles, sometimes with the crudest of instruments, to recall the cultural past of their homeland. Mrs. Holmes with her beaded sealskins, Hans Aloffersen with his wood carvings, the Christoffersens working with soft fedstone, and the artist Alibak, whose sketch here shows Eskimo fishermen taking the Greenland halibut or hellefish through the ice. Alibak's print has reality today. A sled team slams down a mountain trail to Jakobshavn ice fjord. Later, the driver will repeat the exhausting 15-mile trek with 300 pounds of halibut. The driver trusts the keen instincts of the dogs to avoid the hazards of thin or shifting ice. The Greenland halibut, larger and fatter than its Atlantic cousins, feeds at depths up to almost 1,000 feet. These lines, over half a mile in length, carry as many as 200 hooks and are drawn down by the action of the current on a metal paraben. As winter sets in, the last supply ship from Denmark is unloaded, and fishermen load their boats for the final trip before the ice locks the harbors until spring. Helicopter schedules, like all else throughout the Greenland winter, are subject to the fast-changing weather. Your flight leaves tomorrow morning, the ticket agents tell their passengers, and then add, Imacha, maybe. The travelers understand, realizing that in due course they'll be flying through the icy darkness and swirling snow, moving swiftly over the frozen wastes below. helicopters also bring in food and other supplies to the isolated communities. The snow comes early and melts late, indeed if it melts at all. But the sun always rises eventually. And its return to the devout Greenlanders seems almost a religious happening. With daylight, action highlights a typical weekend on frozen Disco Bay near EU's Mine. 50 dog sled teams burst out on the fjord on the first leg of a 25-mile race. As the racers circle the course, many spectators enjoy their own favorite sports: skiing, or soccer in the snow. The racers return, and the winners receive their reward, enthusiastic acclaim by the crowd. Saturday night, Greenland style. As a new week begins, it's back to work for the Greenlanders. And for the men who provide their air transportation. Every flight is carefully planned, especially as to the weather, and the pilots are thoroughly briefed. But plan or no plan, changes come quickly in Greenland. This helicopter leaving picturesque Sokotorpen is detoured to speed a critically ill woman to Godthåb, some 100 miles away. Although Greenland has come from medicine men to modern hospitals in a generation or two, transporting the sick or injured remains a critical problem, especially in winter. At Godthåb, the patient transferred to the waiting ambulance is sped to the hospital for an emergency operation. With modern dentistry and other health services available in most of the larger towns, today's young Greenlanders can look forward to a better life than their forefathers. The land's future lies in its youth and an ever-expanding program of compulsory education. Illiteracy is almost non-existent. Greenland students now graduate on an equal footing with students from other parts of Denmark. Increasingly, in recent years, Greenlanders have come to direct their own destinies, administrative, economic, and social. To future generations will fall the task of converting Greenland's growth into a new era of prosperity. Mineral wealth exists, but so far problems of climate and transportation have made production unprofitable. With construction of new housing, people from remote hamlets are moving into the larger towns, further reducing the isolation of Greenlanders from one another. But despite modern advances, nothing really changes the ageless face of Greenland. The buildings still look like colored doll houses dropped at the foot of a cliff. And inland, the mammoth mass of the ice cap looms, changeless and eternal.